this is, can you stream? Why does it keep doing that? Okay. How's this? How's oh my god. Why is it live stream offline? And that's telling me it's online. Is it just because it's unlisted? Private maybe. Oh, Jesus. Christ. Damn, it's buffering quite a bit. This is some buffery stream. So much. It's like every 2 seconds. Maybe if I reduce the settings. Just VBR. Oh, it's still buffering. What is this nonsense? What is utter nonsense? Of YouTube gaming. Okay, how's it now? Still buffering. Jesus Christ. Oh god. This is quite bad. Okay. How? Okay, it's not bad. Mark Brown says. So, I might just do this. I might just stream now. Like, why not? You know, may as well. Jesus Christ. Yeah, okay, it's not buffering as much now that I've bumped the resolution down. Okay. Let me just warm up, you know. I'm Mark Brown, and this is Game Maker's Toolkit, a series on video game design. Stop bullying Mark. I'm not. It's a loving affection. Okay, so I guess I'll put this live soon, and I may as well put a tweet out now saying... Stream. It's just annoying, because I had like 60 viewers, which is quite good. It had like 250 views total, you know, but I mean, gotta sort things out. Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna put this on now. Let me just tweet it and then put it public. This should sort it. If it doesn't sort it, I'll be very annoyed. It just needs all my hotkeys. What is like mic general? I probably should have waited like another minute to. So okay, mic auxiliary device 1 is that. So control. And then alt, okay. So yeah, it should be up and running now. Should be smooth as butter now. The issues of before should be sorted, hopefully. Some weird issues with the Elgato, so now oh, that's because I muted myself. There we go. Okay. Oh, it's always KG Video said, how did you fix it? I fixed it by not actually fixing it, but by abandoning it and switching to OBS rather than straight through Elgato. Because what I do is I record all the footage on the Mac. Usually, as in this is my usual process. I record all the footage on the Mac, and then I transfer it all to the PC. So I was like, oh, I'll just do it through the Mac. But Elgato streaming is terrible, and OBS doesn't work with Elgato on Mac apparently. So we back, boys, we back. I hope you're all excited for a very average stream. Let's get this show on the road. I'll just OBS scares me, KG Video says. OBS is nothing to be scared of. I got it set up in about like half an hour. It's really fine. There's nothing that bad about it. I was quite scared when I opened and saw the interface, and I was like, oh yikes. But it's good. Okay, I'm just gonna wait for a few more people, and then I might switch. I've got to switch the cables because the monitor I use for the PC is the same one I use to like play games on. So I've just got to get the live stream up on the Mac, and then, you know, just so I can look at the chat, and then we'll be good to go. Thank you for the congratulations as well on topping 30k. I don't know how I did it. Well, I mean, I guess because the cover video was very popular somehow. But you know, still, it's kind of crazy considering I hit 10k in February. to think that I've hit 30k just a few months later is kind of mental, and I can't believe it in a lot of ways. So yeah, I'm gonna just close Discord and then get on with this. Just switch these things. Tell me, do tell me if there are any other horrible problems like there were last time. This thing is public, right? It's not private. Just checking. Like, it's not an unlisted link, is what I'm getting at. Someone tell me, please. Why isn't it showing up on my... Oh, that's why. I'm a fucking idiot. I'm thinking, oh no, more stream issues. Why is it not showing up on my TV? It was because I haven't plugged it in. This is the genius that is hosting your stream tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're ready for a wild ride. Okay, people found it through their sub box, so it is working. I might change the title so it's not stream fixed and is actually something that would make people want to click on the video, but we'll click on the stream. I'm not too bothered about that really. I don't exactly expect 160k like I somehow got with the cover video. That was weird. Whatever. I'll keep the title so that people know that it's work. I'll put stream working because then it's like I'm still currently going. Oh, Shammy's here as well. No, Canoe. Wow, this is awful. You didn't see it before. I'll send you the unlisted thing of it before. Look, I might have some people on a bit. I don't know. I might try and bring the gaming Brit on. Charlie, the legendary, the amazing. Or like, I don't know. Maybe even some other goobers. But either way. Let's just go from where I left off. Horn top hop. I said it wrong. Whatever. Yeah. Wow. KG and Mark Brown on the Turbo Button stream. Yeah. Shammy and Nova Canoe. Yeah. Boo. Who cares? Who cares about them? Just kidding. I love you, Shammy. You too, Nova Canoe. Despite our tussle last night when I was still up at 4 in the morning and we were just chatting absolute breeze. Anyway, point being, ask me questions, everyone, because otherwise it will be a very boring stream if I'm not actually responding to some questions or having horrible technical issues. Shammy's stirring shit in the comments. Beg someone just starts whipping out cues, whipping out P's and Q's, whipping out their tough shit. I'm trying to think what I was talking about before on the last stream before it cut out, but I spent so long trying to fix technical issues that I've lost any semblance of what I was talking about, apart from Metroid Prime at some point, and then got on to Xenoblade 2's horrible ass. Oh my god, I'm doing really bad. Yeah, I don't know. Got a favourite song in this game? Oh god, that's hard because it's a great soundtrack. There's another track in this world. What is it? Windmill Hills? That's quite nice. Actually, no. The best track has to be either Jammin' Jams for the name alone, or there's this one. Oh, I wasn't looking. What's it called? Oh shit. There's like a really good track, and I've forgotten its name. Oh god, I'm drawing an absolute blank here. I can't multitask. This is why you need multiple people on the stream, a lesson which I have not yet learned. But I at least wanted to see if I could do this properly by myself for the first time before getting other people, you know, in the mix of this absolute catastrophe. Well, the last absolute catastrophe. Hopefully this, touch wood, won't be quite such a disaster. I'm trying to remember the name of the track. Oh, the one that plays in the savannah level where there's all the fake animals and stuff. That's just cute as hell, and I love it. Okay, you chose the wrong game to stream and chat with. I really did. But then again, because I'm streaming on the PC now, I couldn't do Vanquish. I might be able to. But that'll be for another time. Like, I don't want to suddenly stop this stream and start trying to get Vanquish sorted because, you know, just that would make things all the worse, really. There's a bramble scramble going on there. Yeah, that's good. Always stream with people, Shami says. Maybe I should. Excited for anything in the upcoming Nintendo Direct? Well, Odyssey, Mario Odyssey, theoretically, but like, oh my god, what the hell was that? Mario Odyssey, but I'm gonna be avoiding trailers from here on out. Like, I did watch the first one, but I'm sort of starting to adopt like a one trailer policy. So, you know, just enough to get me interested, but not enough to spoil me and everything. Actually, what am I talking about? Odyssey's had 2 trailers now. Okay, I'm a liar. I guess what I'm saying is, I've seen enough of Odyssey now to know that I definitely will buy it, and that last trailer already showed quite a lot of footage, and I don't want to spoil it anymore for myself because it looks, you know, it looks like it's going to be quite creative and have a lot of nice surprises in it. So I don't want to ruin it for myself, really, if I'm gonna play it regardless. How does this bit work again? Yeah, there we go. Lol, you'd think John wasn't even here. Thanks, no, oh, I wasn't looking. I keep having to look back at the chat. This is why I need to bring people on. Have any Donkey Kong hot takes regarding the live system? Does it serve any purpose here? Genuinely, no. And not in like a, oh, they shouldn't even have lives. Genuinely, like, why are they even lives? Like, this is a tough game, but I always have enough lives. I've never run out of lives in this game. I ran out of lives in Returns. I've never run out of lives. Look, I've got 66, and I suck. But jeez, Turbo, can you go into voice chat in the Discord? Jeez, these requests, just Turbo, you're not good enough. I will admit the problem with that is, like, in like 10 minutes or so, I just want to make sure that everything's running smoothly, because the last stream was running smoothly until it just randomly cracked out, so I don't want to have the same kind of issue again. So I just want to make sure that everything's running smoothly before I try bringing anyone else in. But also, because I'd have to like stop playing the game and sort out Discord and OBS to do that, you know. I don't want to cause even more delays on this thing. More than necessary. These monkey jumping kids games, they can be quite hard. So this is the greatest auto-scroller in history, Quirt says. Yeah, I agree. I keep looking at the chat, that's why I keep getting distracted. I think this is, yeah, I think this is really good. There's another really good one later with the bells when you're like gliding along the ropes, the vines. That one's a really cool one. This is, I said this on the last stream, but for those of you who weren't there, depending on the day, you know, depending on the mood, this is possibly like my favourite platformer, and I consider it one of just like the best ever, really. Which you sort of don't know until you play it. I don't know. Just the level design really is so good. If you haven't watched my video, I'd recommend it. But you know, like this the kind of creativity that Retro poured into this is kind of astounding. And people say Retro are dead because they don't make Metroid games anymore. And I mean, I prefer Prime, but this is still okay. This game sucks. This game sucks and it's bad. What are people saying? This goddamn game, you guys, what a beaut, Mark Brown says. Yeah, it's really good. So good that we both made level design videos on it, Mark. I'd commend you for that, but like, I'm not in a voice chat with you right now. I'll get some people talking in a minute, but the #1 priority really was making sure it works this time. I don't want to, you know, complicate things. I don't want to get people on if I'm going to be messing around with like technical issues. But it seems to be working fine, so that's good. I'm really disappointed with my life that I've come to this point and I can't jump over the spike. Donkey Kong Country returns to the freeze tropics. Whatever this goddamn long ass title game is called. Like Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. No wonder it didn't sell well. This is one of the many tragedies of the Wii U's lifespan. One of the really good games that didn't sell well. Wonderful 101 is another one of those, which is a great game. Like, it's not... Whoa! Jesus. Someone says Vanquish 1 vote was rigged. No, actually, I was hoping least for Tropical Freeze to win, because at the time I didn't know... At the time I thought it would be the hardest one to stream. It turns out to be the easiest, because now that I have to stream through my PC. Well, actually, who knows? I may find other ways of doing it in the future. I don't know how often I'll do this. Really, the main kind of reason I'm doing this, I'm bored. This level sucks. This level sucks. You know, I said it was good. It actually sucks, and I'm gonna select another level. Mark Brown roasting Nova Canoe in the chat. Not even a surprise. I hope the wonderful 101 Switch rumor is true. Yeah, me too. Because it definitely needs more love. I don't even have a Switch yet, but I just want that game to reach a wider install base. And I feel like it's one of those games that kind of like actually no, Bayo 2 had a lot of hype, but it's sort of one of those games that people heard about through the like word of mouth, sort of got round, and then everyone eventually was sort of like, wait a minute, this is actually a really good game. Oh, but I wish I could play it, but I don't have a Wii U and I'm not going to buy it for one game. But when you have a system that already has a decent install base, then it's like, hey, this came out a few years ago, I never got the chance to play it, and apparently it's really good, so I may as well. I just want to point out that this is a secret level, right? And it's not one of those rinky-dink New Super Mario Brothers secret levels with like completely reused assets. Like this cave, this cheese cave thing was like completely unique to this level, and they did it just for a secret level. The Madmen, retro, the Madmen, they did it. What did GameSpot give this game? Like a 6. Oh, crikey. Journalists, am I right? Okay, here we go. Keep on just a little back and forth. Sorry, I'm just pausing just to read the chat. This game is risky. I hope there aren't any heated gaming moments on the stream. Careful, guys. I might go on a rampage, on a bit of a racial tangent if I get in a heated gaming moment. This one. I need the balloon. Even though the life system is kind of pointless in this game, because you never run out of lives. Oh god, what the hell is going on here? Yeah. Throw me some more questions, ladder, who knows? Charlie's having a go at me for not dropping racial slurs. Ooh. It's thin ice there, boy. Jesus Christ. How does he do it? Maybe if we get you streaming soon. Oh yeah. I was about to make a joke there about but oh, never mind. Let's move on. Any other questions from the lads and lasses of the 4% female viewership that my channel has? any questions from that huge portion of my demographic. What's the greatest level name and why is it Bopopolis? Whoever said that, I can't read the chat right now. You're correct. I love that name. The whole game has really great level names. Like so they all either rhyme or have some kind of alliteration going on. Like there's Sawmill Thrill. There's I've actually forgotten all of them. There's Busted Bayou, Alpine Incline, and Grassland Groove. I remember those because I remember saying them when I made the video. I remember saying the line where I have all of them, and I had to go back and re-record Busted Bayou because I realized I said it wrong. I said like Busted Bayo, then I googled Bayou. I was like, wait a minute. I googled it. I found that was completely wrong, so I had to like splice that in. What? Why are you skipping so many bananas, John? Because this stream is bananas. Oh, oh. Anything you've changed your mind on since the Tropical Freeze video? No. This game is great. Like, it's so good. It's so good. I've not changed my mind on anything. You know, there are certain things after a video comes out and I'm like, maybe, you know, if I went back, I'd change this. There's not much I'd change about the Donkey Kong video. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I'm very grateful to Joseph Anderson for giving it a shout out. For giving that video in particular a shout out with the at the end of his Prey video. I find it funny that he did the Metroid one as well, because even though that was like a real passion project, I think that I had such trauma from editing it. Oh my god, like the same thing again. I had such trauma from editing it that I just sort of forgot all about it. Like, I wiped it from my memory. It was a bit of a hassle. What other questions? Would you call the DK video your best, considering that? No, I don't think it's my best. Do I have a best video? Maybe the Bayonetta. I think the Bayonetta one. I'd say like the content of the cover one as well. I'm really proud of. I'm quite proud of a lot of the cover video. That went through a lot of rewrites. Maybe if I could change one thing about the cover video, like cut it a bit shorter. I've got a lot of comments saying, "Oh, did this really need to be 20 minutes long?" And I think, well, I think every part of the script is relevant. Like, I go through each facet of why it sucks, and then I propose alternatives and like ways to make it better. But I really could have cut down on the number of examples. I go a bit heavy, like this game did this and this game did this. So if I did it again, I'd cut down a bit on that. So I'd say probably the Bayonetta one is my most rounded one. It's the one I'm most proud of. Which is why it really annoyed me when I put out the Darksiders 2 one, and then it did way better than the Bayonetta video. Oh, damn. It did way better than the Bayonetta video, and I was like, oh no! Like, can't it be the other way around? Other vids. Did this stream need to be 20 minutes long? No. What other talks are there? What other things would you like to see in a DKC in another Donkey Kong Country game? I don't know really. I don't know. It's a tricky thing with platformers because inherently, I mean, this sounds derogatory. Like, inherently, they're quite simple in terms of mechanics. You know, the depth comes through what my friend Nova Canoe, shout out, coined, question mark, situational depth, where it's like the level design. The only sort of mechanical depth really they added with this one was, you know, Cranky Kong and Dixie Kong, kind of. That was more of a safety net. Both good additions. I don't know what else you could really add, because Cranky Kong's a great addition because it's like conserving momentum, which is a lot of what makes these games fun if you're really good at them, which I'm not. But like speedrunners and that using Cranky Kong is like quite a sight. So I don't really know what else I could add. Why am I acting as if I'm on the dev team? What else one could add without it just feeling like, oh, why'd you bother putting that in this game? But that's enough on that. That's enough on that one. Thank you, KG, for referencing the music choices in that video. I was really proud of what I did with that, and I hope that some people noticed, because there was one guy, I think it was Shintai Reviews, said like, oh, I noticed you used the song The Way You Move by Outkast, and that's for the bit where I talk about how movement, you know, is kind of clunky. But I sort of did that for all the tracks. Like when Vanquish comes in, I play This Is How We Do It, which I found quite fun to put in the edit. But probably my favourite one is because Charlie, sorry, the Gaming Brit and I often say that at the start of a lot of these types of videos, there's sort of the obligatory point where the video essayist, God, that's such a wet title, has to basically just recount the history and like pretend that they know what they're talking about in terms of context. So I decided to use Act Like You Know because I thought that was quite a funny little thing to be like, oh, I'll just like act like I know about this. It was just a cheeky little thing, and there's a couple other, but you know I won't go through all of them because I don't know. I've put all of them in the description, so if you're interested in sort of seeing what I did with all that, then just check. Oh no! Check the description. What's going on in the chat? Oh, I'll check now. Okay. Is this Dark Souls? Yes. How did the relationship between gamers and journalists get so toxic? I'm not talking about that! Okay, are you having a nice day, pal? Yeah, it's been alright, apart from apart from the stream earlier. What a catastrophe. I think some of you were online for that, but not all of you. It was an absolute disaster. Like, oh my god. Like, the first 30 minutes were fine, but then it just turned into a train wreck. I've got it unlisted on my channel just in case I ever want to nostalgically revisit that. But I'm not sure I ever will, because of the PTSD I'll get from it. Is there any reason to use Diddy Kong over Dixie in this game? Seems like she's just better. Yeah, that's the one, not necessarily bad thing about Dixie, but like the whole point of Diddy really, ostensibly, is that you get extra reach on your jumps, right? Because he just hovers. But Dixie gives you height as well, and Diddy might give you like a bit more horizontal movement, but ultimately a little bit more height is way more useful than a bit of horizontal movement. I never use Diddy in this game unless the game only gives me the option of him. Oh, the track for this level is great. Can you guys hear the game music on the stream, by the way? 'Cause I hope you can, because this track is great, and it dynamically shifts when you go onto these vines. It's so good. The soundtrack for this game is amazing, and I think most of you know that I love dynamic soundtracks. That's something Vanquish really needed, like Metal Gear Rising soundtrack in Vanquish. You know, that kind of music. Because at the moment, Vanquish has like one good track, and it's just ugh. It's like you've got this really great game system, and then nothing else to support it. Charlie the Gaming Brit did a decent video talking about that, you know? Hop on over to his channel. Yeah, that's the... I didn't even try to jump off that. That's the thing with Vanquish, it's like, it's a great system not supported by anything else. Whereas like every other game in that video is a mediocre or sometimes bad system supported by everything. You know, like Uncharted 2 or something. You know, it's like a mediocre system but supported by, you know, great character dialogue and good settings and not a great story, not a great plot, but decent story in terms of what it is, you know, being a sort of an action blockbuster kind of thing. It succeeds at being that. I still think Uncharted 4 is the best in the series, so perhaps the only good one. I just said that on live on stream. But who knows? Video, maybe never. It's like, when you have Uncharted 4, it's got like the best story and the best gameplay. It's like, how is it not the best game in the series, apart from the awful pacing? But, I mean, I'd take nuggets of fun gameplay and story over not, you know. Oh god. Okay, this bit's quite cool because you've got these crumbling platforms along with these sort of scanning enemies. What's like the correct term? I don't know, just horizontal moving enemies. I know like Medusa heads, the kind of term is sine wave enemies, but I don't know what these things are. I'm rambling. I'm rambling so much. Are there any questions? No, Canoe says, John, tell the shoulder button story live on stream. No. I've had a bit to drink, but I haven't had that much. So I'm not telling that story. I feel like that's a story I have to tell when there's other people on the stream. I can't tell that story by myself. It would just be sad and not funny. But if like you or Charlie were on the stream, you know, it would be quite dying. Play Lost Legacy, Mark says. I should. I've heard some people say like, yeah, it's got the best combat and set pieces in the series, but it's not the best in the series. I'm like, how is that not the best in the series? If it's got like the best, if it's got the best gameplay and the best like blockbuster moments, how is it not the best game now? It's got girls. They came into our boys club. So we've got what's it? Not Uncharted. Indiana Jones, right? And then Tomb Raider is female Indiana Jones. And then we got male, female Indiana Jones. And now we've got female, male, female Indiana Jones. And I'm wondering how deep this rabbit hole can go. Like, if they reboot Tomb Raider, and it's, what's the male version of Lara? God, I don't know. You know, if there's like a male Lara, and then we'll have not even come full circle, we'll have come full circle several times. This is the most rambly stream. I can't imagine anyone would watch this. Wow. At least it's working. Touch wood. Jesus. Say that and I died. Whatever. Larry Croft. Yeah, there we go. Tomb Raider. Right, this stream is so comfy. Thank you. Okay, I'm just checking what other questions there are. Okay. Before Robo Turbo returns. No more questions, I guess. I feel like I was answering something on the last stream before it completely died. But what was it? You can really tell what it was. God, I don't know. It was something to do with the video game. Yeah, just ask me any questions to do with like video games or like films or something, I don't know. Or just anything, really. Within reason. Not... Oh, I don't know, I'm not going to give you guys ideas. But... within reason. If one good thing came of the, that disaster of a stream that came a few hours before, it's that wonderful piece of fan art that, Krem made, and I tweeted. Of me and a Loss edit. It's like, will Loss ever stop being a meme? It's like CIA. It's just got like eternal meme status. It went through a bit of like a meme resurgence. You know, it was a meme like years ago, and then recently Twitter seems to have got a hold of it, and now it's like a meme again. It's like, wow. This is the Turbo Button stream where we talk about memes. Welcome to the serious game analysis YouTube stream where we talk about memes. Actually, I'm not a serious game analysis. What am I talking about? Just chatting breeze, throwing lad around in my videos. Apparently someone on NeoGaf got really pissed off at me for saying the word lad. I don't know. Don't know what that means where you're from. But, how often do you stream? This is literally my first time doing a stream myself. I can't be bothered to do the boss. I feel like the boss is, for the most part, like the weakest part of this game. Yeah, so this is literally my first stream. Oh, writing on games is here to chat shit, okay. Is this your favourite video game of all time? No. My favourite's like a three-way tie between the most like normie vanilla choices of all time. You know, if you had any kind of pretensions that I was some kind of connoisseur, think again. Because my three favourite games is a three-way tie between like Majora's Mask, Metroid Prime 1, and Shadow of the Colossus. By the way, this level is just the cutest. It's so good. Like, look at these trees. Look at them just jigging. Like, they're just having the time of their lives. Look at him. It's just such a cute level, and all the music's perfect. And then look at these little elephant things. Okay, I'm getting too caught up in the charm and the veneer and the smoke and mirrors of this level. You know, gotta analyze it. That's real. I'm not doing a live analysis of Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. We're here for speedrun strats. You won't get them with me. Is writing on games in our discussion? I think so. I don't know. I find it kind of weird that all the kind of game YouTubers, you know, at least in you know similar vein, are here. That's really weird. You've got like writing on games. You've got Mark Brown. You've got gaming video. What's going on? You've even got legendary Nova Canoe. I mean, it's amazing. Oh, I've already got that puzzle piece. Oh, this bit's cute as hell. Look at this. Look at this. Look at the sound in the background. It's so good. It's so. Man, like if you don't crack a smile while playing this level, I'm not sure you're even human. There's some magic. Some magic. Man, it's like I have to do live commentary and suddenly I can't actually think properly and I'm just wowed by cutesy animals and dancing trees. But I mean, can you blame me? What else is going to spicy but disgusting? What's going on? Secret Discord spicy. Mark Brown, why is he not invited to a Discord? Have I played the Swapper? No. Oh, I've heard of it. I can't quite remember what it's about. But I've is that like a recent-ish game? I feel like if someone explains the premise, I'll know what it is. But just from the name alone, it's not ringing any bells. Balls. Oh, this bit as well. Look at these snakes. This is sort of what I was saying in the level design video. I mean, this sort of tangentially has something to do with the beginning of the level mechanically, in that you're using the grab mechanic and that. But really, the main kind of connector is the thematics. But it still feels cohesive because everything ties together so well. It still feels like a whole level. The problem with having something like the new Super Mario Bros. Games, or even like, I don't know, the normal ones, is that if everything's like a bunch of blocks, then it's way more obvious when you're shifting between quite different mechanics. It's way more obvious when it's like, oh, this is the part where we develop this skill. You know, you want to kind of pull the curtain over the player's eyes a bit, make them not really realise that they're doing what they're doing. Okay, what? Chicken. Spacemen that can swap bodies with clones. Oh, that was the Metroidvania, wasn't it? I think that's in my Steam wish list, and it's been. I feel really bad. Oh, this level's so. All the levels in this game are so good. I feel kind of bad because it's been really cheap on Steam a few times. It's been like 30p, but I still haven't bought it. I don't know. I guess there's no point buying it just for the sake of it, but that'd be interesting. I sort of need to branch out more into other Metroidvanias that aren't Metroidvania, you know what I mean? Axiom Verge, I've heard some people really like and some people don't like, and I'm sort of interested to see what's going on with that. You know, I hear things like it's got the structure down, but maybe not like the items or something. But who knows? I'm very tenuously recovering some memories here, you know. Hi, penguin. Speaking of penguins, this was a much better choice for enemies than what were they in Returns? They were like tiki things. They were like sort of Easter Island kind of Easter Island, or were they like? Either way, though, I don't know. It was kind of a boring enemy type, and I mean, who really cares what they look like for the most part? Returns was a really good game. If anyone's wondering what my opinions on Returns are, I sort of very briefly said in the last video, but I didn't elaborate too much. Returns is still a really good game. Really, yeah, really good. I'd say really good. It's just not as good. The level design isn't as tight. It's more difficult, and some ideas copy over. Like this thing, there was a similar thing in Returns with like a big dinosaur head, I think. But ultimately, Tropical Freeze just has much better level design, both aesthetically and mechanically. Oh, no, you can't get it. Can the witness be called a puzzle Metroidvania? When are we going to see writing on... No, it's not writing on Game Maker's Toolkit, it's what's with writing on Game Maker's Toolkit, the ultimate collaboration channel. Someone in the chat says, the items and power-ups in Axiom are highly situational and have little depth. Well, there we go. What else are people saying? Since you're a fan of character action games, what's your take on We Shall Wake? My take is, I don't know what that is. Should I know? Should I know? Someone tell me if I should know. In the meantime, Guacamelee, I heard a lot of people didn't think that was that good. What's the worst film that you ever saw? Ooh, I have seen Sharknado. But that doesn't really count. Oh god, Mitch is here. Heavy-eyed. Ugh. No, I haven't played Guacamelee. I'm saying that other people have. I've heard that it's not that great. If you want, okay, I'm gonna shill Mark Brown here. If you want a really good Metroidvania video, watch Mark Brown's really old Tokitori video. It's like the third video he ever made, but I think that was the first one I ever saw. And it's a really good video on like Metroidvania structure and how basically this kiddie this kiddie birdie game that looks like some kind of educational game basically does Metroidvania better than Metroid, pretty much. It sounds like, and it was a really good video. So just check it out. What am I doing? Having to look back and forth between high-speed platforming and YouTube stream chats. Someone said something earlier. I sort of made a mental note of a question someone asked, but I completely forgot what it is. What was it? When you bring back legendary thumbnails like the Splinter Cell one. Christ, like so bad. That was so bad. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, or don't know what he's talking about, Jesus. I had a Chaos Theory video 2 years ago, and it's got the worst thumbnail of all time. Because Once upon a time, Hyperbit gave me some pretty solid advice. You know, always try to contain a face in your thumbnail, and for the most part I stick to that because it's just naturally what kind of attracts the human eyes, you know. So I'm like, okay, well this Splinter Cell game doesn't really have any cutscenes, and you can't see his face when he's got the very iconic night vision goggles on. So instead of making the thumbnail, you know, like the night vision goggles, which everyone recognizes as Splinter Cell, I mean, like, I took a cutscene where Sam Fisher's in a black t-shirt, shrugging, and it's in like grayscale. It's so bad. Like, no one would recognize it. Like, if I hadn't played Chaos Theory in a few years, I would not recognize it as Splinter Cell video. Just, you know, just at a first glance, which is sort of critical. I don't know what I was thinking, but it's so bad that I'm keeping it. I'm never changing it, even with the sort of thumbnail and like general art kind of renaissance the channel had. I'm still keeping that because I'm so fond of how bad it is. But thumbnails of that quality will never return because I do actually like getting views, believe it or not. Oh, what a shell. Oh god, what am I meant to be doing here? There he goes. That's a good little bit right there. That's a good little bit for the end of the level. Okay. It's a bad thumbnail, why not change it? Someone says, because it's so bad. Because there comes a point where it's so bad that I can't change it. And also, it's so distant from the rest of my videos. Like, it's some weird thoughts on, like, improvised video that it doesn't really feel like it fits in with the rest of the channel anyway. So I don't feel like I'm doing, like, a disservice to the channel by not changing it, you know. No one would watch it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I'm keeping it just for nostalgia value. Okay, oh, this is the one I was doing on the stream before, and it can't be cursed because the stream was doing alright when I was on this level. So here we go. Replace all your thumbnails with pictures of Joseph Anderson. All we have to go on is a dragon, a royalty-free drawing of a dragon. So I don't know. No, I want Dixie for this one. This level. Why am I doing the hard levels for this stream? Why did you stop? Oh my god, someone's getting retro. Hat Hands, how long have you been watching the channel? He asked, why did you stop Great Games of the Last Generation? God, that was years ago. That was when the PS4 came out, so that was late 2013 when that started. Oh, it's so bad. The thing is, the video is still on my channel. It's just unlisted. So, oh no. Oh, I thought I could time that. I've landed back in the barrel before, but yeah, no. The video is terrible. The funniest one though probably is I did Great Games of the Last Generation, Metroid Prime 3. And this was years ago, back when, like, the Gaming Brit and I didn't really talk so much, but I just remember, like, the one thing he said to me was, like, dude, this video is, like, you're complaining about the game for 10 minutes, and then you say, yeah, great game, go buy it. One of the best games of the last generation, go buy it. Because I spent the whole video being like, oh, it's not as good as the other Metroid Primes. And then I'm like, yeah, great game. It's really solid. Go purchase this masterpiece. It's really strange. The Xenoblade video? The Xenoblade video, though, is just, like, offensive in how bad the audio mixing is. My logic was, well, the music of Xenoblade is really good, so I'm going to use that in the video. And if I use the music, I want to make sure that everyone can hear it, right? So the music is really loud. Especially, like, when I use these, like, loud guitar riffs. And the music is just overwhelming. It's terrible. And also, I was 14, 15 when I made that video, so it's just embarrassing to watch. So, no. On top of that, the reason I stopped is it was just a very generic series of recommendation/review videos that, you know, if you're starting off a channel, it's not the best thing to set you apart. You know, just doing reviews of games that are just old enough for no one to be interested in them, but not old enough for them to be like retro throwbacks. It's not a good start, you know. Okay, well, Mitch says I love that Xenoblade video. Someone says, so you've made stuff before the current style? Yeah. In fact, no one's seen oh god, I made like one in 2011. So I was a real youngin', and god, it was like I can't believe I'm saying this live. It was like some joke review of Wii Music. The legendary turbo button reduced to Wii Music. Oh god. At least I learned editing at a very young age. That's all I can say, even if it wasn't good. Yikes. Oh Jesus Christ! Oh, this level is just is brutal. God, the weird thing with this? I mean, it happens with a lot of games where it doesn't really look hard when you're watching it, but when you're playing it, it's like hell. Yeah, this is like that game. I don't know what else I'd really stream on the Wii U if I ever did more streams. Like, I guess Wonderful 101. Oh, I might stream the worst game I've ever played. Someone asked me about the worst film I've ever made. I'm sorry, I actually completely ignored that question. I genuinely don't know. It's probably wiped from my memory. Maybe Shark Tale. Worst game I've ever played is Doctor Who: Return to Earth, which funny story about that. Actually, I bought that in 2011 or something to do, like a funny kind of JonTron classic gaming Brit style video with, and I in fact was almost done with it, but then long story short, my old laptop hard drive broke, like physically broke, so I never finished it. I'm just going to pause it here because this is a really hard bit and I'm going to look at the thing. How did you get into doing video essays type stuff on YouTube? Really, I think everyone's inspiration, well, I guess for games, most of it... Oh no! Okay, everyone's inspiration, I feel like, well, for games it was mostly Game Maker's Toolkit for most people on the website, I'd say, and he fed into it, but initially it was more every frame of painting, which I think applies to just about everyone. So it's kind of weird that he's just like dead now. He did like what, one video last year, 2. It's really weird. Maybe he's left now that everyone's like a copycat of him, so he feels like he has no place anymore. I don't know. He was really good while he lasted. So I hope he does sort of come back properly one day, because he had a good release schedule at one point, but then he just stopped. I think it was possibly like the best out of anyone, maybe. And of course he had a precedent, really, in that he's an editor, so it makes sense for him to at least be talking about the the medium, if not editing. Let's see if there are any more questions. Oh, do you like NIN? Sorry, never played it. My worry. Oh, someone says, how do you set yourself apart the traditional video essay style? Because you manage that. Well, thank you very much. For the compliment, saying I set myself apart. Initially, though, I have to clarify though. Initially, though, I very much didn't. Like, I was just saying about how I'd make like like gaming Brit style videos. The Xenoblade video, which is no longer on the channel. I've got to cover my tracks. That was basically, I saw Gaming Brit's other M video, which was already basically a rip-off of the Plinkett style, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll do it like that. So I basically just did it like that, and took a few notes from Solbro in terms of cutaway jokes, which I overused way too much in that video. Oh god, there's a really embarrassing bit where I pretend to mispronounce Yoko Shimomura's name. Oh jeez, I was a funny lad. And I still am. course not. Where was I going with this? Oh, point being, everyone sort of copies other people at the start, because you have to. I mean, it's not necessarily a good. Oh god. Oh god. Oh, so close. It's not necessarily a good thing, but it's more so necessary because you have to learn what works and what doesn't when you're editing and writing. And I remember when I'd watch videos from like Every Frame of Painting, and this was I'd started the channel at this point, but I hadn't really, you know, gone big with it, and so this was like a couple of years ago, and I'd watch videos and I'd be like, okay, how does he like get across his point? You know, how does he like, how does he, I was about to say get across his point again, but so at first you end up, you know, copying, and then eventually you learn really the basic principles of editing and stuff, and you just learn to kind of put your own voice in it. I am still quite similar to the Gaming Brit and Mark Brown. I'm sort of like a weird, like, bastard child of them both, but I like to think that I have enough of a unique flair to set me apart. Hopefully. Yeah, you know, sometimes I doubt it, but I hope. Oh god, that saved me. Yeah, you see how useful Dixie is? Diddy wouldn't have saved me there. Jesus. Whatever. Next question. Jumpy Monkey, yes. Captain Christian started his own star, but I guess he was an editor beforehand. Captain Christian's definitely the exception to the rule when it comes to that kind of thing. He definitely had a very unique style from the outset. Although, I don't know what's with his weird hiatus. Like, isn't he charging? I swear he's still charging on Patreon, like monthly, if not twice a month. And he released like one video in the last 3 months. So, what's going on? What's going on, Captain? But then there was that one really weird time where he released 2 videos a day apart. So, who knows what he's up to? Mysterious man. Oh, I should have... Oh my god. Oh, this level is not getting finished. Jesus. I should cancel my support for Gaming Brit and support you. That's the best comment of the stream so far. Oh my god. Jesus. What's the story behind your channel name? What's the story of Turbo Button? Jesus, like, it's very boring. It's literally like, I think someone else sort of gave me the name, because some of you might know this from my channel URL, that my channel, YouTube still recognizes my channel name as Karibo's Mask, which I made when I was, god, what, 12? Maybe like, yeah, maybe 12, I don't know. So, and then I was like, oh, I want to make, I want to reboot the channel and talk about, like, you know, great games of the last generation. What a great series that was. And I was like, oh, well, you can change your YouTube channel name now, so I won't bother making a new channel. I'll just delete all the videos and then not have to go through that hassle. I'll just change the channel name later. And then I was stuck with Karibo's Mask for a while. And then it got to the point where I think it was like around the time of was it Playable Cinematography, maybe? Where, oh no, it was much later. It was like a year earlier than that. It was like, I don't know what kind of video it was. But either way, I was like, god, this name is embarrassing. This is like, it's almost like a 12-year-old wrote it. So I had to get a new one, and then I just, I really struggled. I remember for a second being like, oh, you know what's a really good name? Polygon. And then I was like, oh wait, that's taken. No, I was trying to come up with like really similar ones to that. I genuinely thought it wasn't taken, and then I googled it, and I was like, oh, of course it's taken. So yeah, it's quite a boring origin, really. I don't even know why I bothered saying the story. What's the story behind TGBS voice? Are you talking about how I do the classic gaming Brit the classic gaming Brit voice in my new video? Oh, but Turbo, that's the point. The classic 2012 gaming Brit voice. I can't remember why I decided to use that. I think it's because I've done it to Charlie a few times, and it's just funny because we both consider it kind of weird how we went through like that weird phase. I don't know. I don't know. Just thought it was fun. Oh, I missed the secret exit. Oh well. I don't know. Just a weird decision. That was nothing more. It's just funny to do. The funny thing about it is, when I was recording, I didn't quite nail it on the first try, so I had to practice by doing one of his classic intros. I was just standing in front of the mic going, Sonic Generations! Like over and over again until, oh no, over and over until I fixed it. Oh, can I duck this one? Yes, I can. That's about it. How old are you now? That's not too weird. I don't consider it too weird now, saying, I used to be a bit like, nah, that's under wraps. I'm only 18, which surprises a few people, but I don't know, I don't think it's that. It's just sort of whatever, you know. What kind of videos did the classic Karibas Mouse make? I basically just said, Weeboy John was the best channel name. Canyon, is this one? What's this one? I don't remember what this one is. I thought you were like 20 something. Jesus Christ. No. I've had a couple, like, one guy guessed 28, and I was like, what? Thoughts on Killer is Dead. Didn't complete it. I will someday, probably for that big action game video. I didn't like it that much. On top of, because I got it on PC, right? And on top of the weird performance issues, even with the 60 FPS, not even patch, fan patch. You know, like, God, come on, guys. Even with that, it sort of stutters awkwardly. The levels are kind of bland. It's got its charm. It does have its charm, but like, for me at least, it didn't make up for it. You know, there are some games where the charm can win me over. As much as I pretend to be a design boy, there are some games where like I play it and, like Max Payne. Max Payne's got such simple gameplay. I love that game because of the writing and the tone. But I don't know, Killer's Dead just didn't do it for me. I think it was the point where I got to this, like, 2 really annoying bosses in a row, and the second one, like, I couldn't figure out if it was a glitch or not, or if I was just being stupid, because I couldn't deplete its health, and I was just completely baffled. I was like, what's going on? And after like 20 minutes, I was just like, you know what, screw this, I'm out. I only spent like £2 on it, and I was still salty. Oh my god, oops. Concentrating. GG. Cheeky bastard since a child then. How did you balance videos and school? I didn't really. On the last stream, I'm guessing some of you weren't on it. On the last stream I said that, because, you know, in the update video I talked about having exams very recently. Like 2 days after my exams finished, I had a dream that I took an exam. Oh, I can't trick that one into falling. I had a dream that I took an exam on Donkey Kong Country Returns, and I woke up. It was like a really weird dream. I can't remember whether it was like a game analysis thing, but like, bear in mind, I don't take any of that kind of game design courses. No, it was just an exam on Donkey Kong. And then it was something like I forgot to put my name on it. And then went to catch a train, came back, and then was like begging, like, no, please, give me the marks. in gaming Brit voice, but John, it's such a legendary game. Damn, everyone's talking about all these other boys in the chat now. Jeez, being replaced. I can't be bothered to do the bosses. This is alright, level. In med school? What? In med school? Oh my god. Why? Like, not even like university. Med school. Like, I'm not smart enough to do medicine. Jesus Christ. Dr. Turbo. Paging Dr. Turbo. Oh, see, this level just forces you to use Diddy, because they're like, oh, Dixie's too overpowered. Remember that, what's it called? What's the name? Award show. What was it called? VGX? VGAs? VGX? Yeah, it was VGX, where Reggie showed up. He was like, guys, we've got a big announcement. And he's wearing that Metroid pin. And he goes, Cranky Kong is in Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. And of course, he turned out to be a good addition, but that's not a hype announcement. Oh god, that was so embarrassing. And Jeff Keighley started roasting him. He's like, didn't he ask where Metroid was? I feel like he might have actually said, like, come on man, like, where's Metroid? And Reggie's like, I do feel kind of bad for Mercury Steam having developed a Metroid 2 remake, only for it to, you know, get basically like one-upped by a fan game a year prior. Because, you know, you can be like, oh, they should have made a better game, but in all fairness, you know, it's like, it's not the individual like dev's fault or anything. I don't know, I'm not too confident about it though. I was about to say another Metroid 2 remake, because at this point, the official Metroid 2 remake is another Metroid 2 remake. But what's it called? Samus Returns. They just reversed the title, I guess. Because that melee counter, because it's not even like, oh, specific attacks you can use the melee counter on. It's like every attack. And in a game, in like an action game, sure. But, you know, maybe even in a game like Other M, you know, then sure, fair game. But in a game like Metroid, where you're constantly going back and forth, you know, trying to find your way around, when every, oh, there it goes. When every enemy encounter, sorry, including the really minuscule ones, is best solved by waiting. That's Jesus. Whatever. Whatever. No, it's specific attacks. Mark Brown says. Oh. Okay. Weird. Because all I remember is when they had the Treehouse stream, it was like every enemy that showed up, they did the attack on. Like, look at the new counter attack. We're taking notes from Other M, the most beloved of Metroid games. Oh no! You will not get the best of me, El Toro. Oh, there we go. I didn't even mean to do that. God, I'm not going to land this in time. Let me look at some vids. What's Retro doing now? I do not know. The tiny enemies only have one attack. Oh, so it is every attack. Mark Brown. It's basically every attack. If most enemies have one attack, like, don't you pull a fast one on me. This level has really good design, I feel like I should say. I can't be bothered to analyze it as we go along. Who do you think I am? But it's really good. This whole game is really well designed. How about that? How about that? Oh, Retro's dead. Now that they don't make Metroid games. Actually, I don't know how many staff left after Tropical Freeze, because I think after Tropical Freeze was when the fallout with Tanabe happened. So who knows, actually. But I'm hoping this new studio that's working on Prime 4 is great. I feel like everyone should give them a chance. Yeah, everyone's like, oh, but it's not Retro. Yeah, but when Retro made Prime 1, I mean, you know, they had some experience with like Turok and stuff, but Retro itself, as a team, was unproven. And then their first game comes out and it's an absolute masterpiece. So, you know, have faith, be cautiously optimistic. I already explained in the last stream how ecstatic I was at that trailer, so I'm not going to go through it again. But, yeah, this is another secret level. And, like, all these vines in the background, all these, like, jiggy cacti, this concept, this mechanic in general of, like, all the plants coming up, I'm pretty sure this is unique to this level. And it, you know, it just goes to show, like, how much care was put into this game. Meanwhile, all the main levels in, like, I don't know, like 3D World or New Super Mario Bros. U. Anyone remember New Super Mario Bros. 2? You know, they all use like the same assets and similar mechanics, and you know, they're well designed in terms of the mechanics and that. But you can tell that the same unified passion wasn't quite there. Oh, there we go. Oh no! Okay, I hope this thing doesn't go away, because I'm going to look at the chat. Metroid 1's not worth playing on its own, no. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, some games age like a fine wine. Metroid 1, you know, time has not been kind to it. Revengeance was all about the counter as well. Yeah, but it had other melee moves as well. That's the one melee move in I almost said other M, in this Metro 2 remake, and it's a counter which inherently involves waiting. You could say Bayonetta's all about witch time. Well, it's not, but one could say it. But it's not, because really you can't get, I mean, I guess you could get by on just waiting for witch time. After all, that's basically what Bayo 2 was. But, you know, it's not quite the same. I'm really elaborating very well. Gosh, unscripted. He's just such a poet. What kind of, what other comments are around? I'm sorry, wait, bring them to his DB binds. No, I didn't mean unique to this game alone. I meant like unique within this game, as in Retro. This is, look, it says 3B. That means it's a secret level. So Retro went out of their way to craft unique assets and mechanics for a one-off secret level that many people won't even see on just a normal playthrough. And you know, it just shows what kind of devs they are, really, and their kind of priorities. And I think that's why they're my favourite. I'd say they're my favourite devs. I don't know who else really would be up there. Like Nintendo EAD have made some great games, but they've also made some duds. So who knows? Chat. What game have you got the most hours in? Either TF2 or like probably one of the old Pokemon. Not old, but oh my god, I almost revealed just how young I am. I say one of the old Pokemons when I'm referring to the GBA ones. Oh my god. This world. I don't know water levels that much. This world. Have you ever thought about making a video on a Mega Man game? It's a bit overdone. You know, it feels like it's so, not so overdone, but it's overdone enough where, because of course everyone who's into game analysis, everyone has seen the sequelitis, the Mega Man sequelitis. I feel like that's where everyone first, at least sort of in the modern YouTube sense, first kind of experienced that kind of video. So, I don't know, doing a Mega Man one at this point, it just feels a bit redundant. Like, what could I say about Mega Man that hasn't been said? And that's, a decent priority on my channel. Like, sometimes I will just say things that I want to say, and maybe they have been said, and I'm like, oh, I want to say it in a different way. Where am I going? This way? What am I doing? I'm not paying attention. Oh, down here. Yeah, of course. What was I talking about? Yeah, so, Mega Man, everything's sort of been said on it. I try to usually say something that I at least don't hit often. So, like, Alan Wake, who talks about Alan Wake? No one. I would always hear a lot of, I'd always hear a lot of people saying, like, oh, Max Payne 2's the best because it's got the romance, and I wanted to just be like, no. So, and the New Order and like Hit Scan and that, I didn't hear anyone talking about that, and I really wanted to talk about that because it bugs me quite a bit, especially because I think at that point we knew about the new Doom game, and I was sort of thinking like, oh well, if they're gonna try to keep making classic shooters, going forward, then there's some lessons to be learned. I have moderately high hopes for the new Colossus though. I don't think it will be groundbreaking, but I think it will just be a slightly more polished New Order, and that's all I really need. What's going on in the land of the comments? Oh, I should probably pause because of oxygen limit. There are a few things that haven't been said about the NES Mega Man games. Yeah, I don't know. I still feel like it's a bit of a low-hanging fruit. I mean, you could say the same for the NES Castlevanias, but I do want to do a video on Castlevania 3. Because everyone sort of talks about 1 and 2. But 3 is like really good, and it deserves some love. Titanfall 2 is great. Yeah. Titanfall 2 is really good. I was thinking of streaming Titanfall 2 actually. Team Fortress 2 I meant, rather than Titanfall 2 in terms of most hours in a game. Yeah. If someone says after Doom, Tenno doesn't come off great, I agree. It comes off better in some ways, like... as silly as the story is, I love it. Like, it's so stupid. But it's stupid in the, not quite Max Payne 1 stupid, but almost in the, sort of what I talked about in that video of, riding the line between camp and serious, and that making for a sort of a tongue-in-cheek, but not annoyingly so, tone. That's what I really like about, the New Order. Because it's like, some people say, oh, it should have just been really silly, or oh, it should have just been really serious. And that's the one thing I'm a bit unsure about with the new Colossus, is that it looks to be way more just silly overall. And I don't know how I feel about that, because what made the silly parts of the New Order better to me, like, I won't spoil it, but there's a certain, like, location skip in the New Order which is insane, and what makes that kind of stuff, oh, and also the magic Jewish armor, when the the Jewish scientist guy's like, oh yeah, why do you think the Nazis wanted to kill the Jews? It's because we had magic technology. And it's like, what? Like, the reason that kind of stuff is so great is because it's so serious other times. Like, the opening is sort of over the top, but it's serious in tone. And there's a bit in a labor camp. But oh, oops. But that just makes the silly bits stick out more. And in some people's eyes, it was in a bad way, in like a, oh, it's not consistent way. In my eyes, it was a good way, because you don't need to be silly about, like, the threat that Nazis pose. I'm not being political, but you don't need to be like, oh, the Nazis have some super weapon and they're doing this and that. You can just be like, you know, the Nazis have some labor camps and, like, them taking over the world is kind of bad. So you can play that straight within the constraints of the story, and still get silly with the way the premise goes. I'm not sure I'm articulating myself the best, especially because I'm having to play something at the same time. But that's sort of the way I've thought about it. Like, I feel, you know, you sort of connect best to a story when the threat is at the very least taken seriously, and it definitely is in the New Order. It's just that it does get silly at times. Okay, that's enough about the New Order. What else is people saying? Do a video. Mark Brown, Game Makers Toolkit says do a video on Mario Bros 1-1. I was gonna do an April Fool's on it, but then I couldn't be bothered. Okay. I hope they and not the Shadow of the Colossus remake. Yeah, all those Nazis in Shadow of the Colossus. Wondering what the Jewish army had to do with it. Turbo, how's your father doing? Okay, I hope you're not up to anything. Dark Souls lore analysis. Oh yes. Yes, writing on games. I'll do a video on Dark Souls lore, and I'll call it The Importance of Vati Vidya and why it's important. And that's my title. Oh god, my throat's really dying. I should have had like a cup of tea or something. I was gonna make. Oh god, I really should have. I've got some more time. God, just talking for this long. How does he do it? Metro Prime lore vid. No. I didn't do a lore vid. The Metro Prime video, actually, now that you mention it, 6 months prior, it was a completely different video, because I had like half the footage from Metro Prime for a different video, and it was to do with it was to do with like I think it was to do with like art direction and sort of creating environments that felt like lived in, and it was kind of pretentious, if I'm honest, and going nowhere. And after a while, I just looked at the script, and I was like, no, this isn't. Oh, it's the intro to my Donkey Kong video. Oh, this isn't good enough, really. I don't want to put this out and spend time on it and then have people just be disappointed. So instead, you know, eventually, when I think I tweeted. I can't exactly remember how it was. It was like I tweeted something like, "Oh, it's kind of interesting, like the differences between 2D and 3D Metroid, how they're both sort of similar but different." And then someone sort of tweeted me back like, "Why don't you do a video on it?" Or maybe I just said something about Metroid, and he was like, "Oh, it's kind of weird how they're different." Either way, point is, I was then like, "Oh wait, yeah, I can't believe I haven't done a Metroid video." So and then I got really excited about doing it. Like it was a real passion project until I got into the editing stage, in which part it was hell. And I can't be able to explain that. What's in the chat? Nothing. I never said anything was wrong with Vati. It's just he's the Dark Souls lore guy. What software hardware do you use to get your footage? I use an Elgato HD60, and just the software that you get off their website. I used to use an HD PVR2. Here's my advice: don't. When I think it was around the time of the Metroid video, it started really crapping out on me, and it would just do whatever it wanted. Like, Jesus Christ, I'd press record, and then it would turn out that it wasn't recording, and the file was all glitched. The build of the thing was like a really kind of cheap plastic. The Elgato is way better, and I haven't had any problems with it so far, apart from streaming earlier today. But in terms of recording, I haven't had any problems with it. So, you know, go for that if you're looking for you know, not a head start, but like if you're looking for a starting point, is what I meant to say. What's people saying? How many times do you redraft scripts? Not too many. I usually do like 2 or 3. It's hard to put a number on it because sometimes it's complete, you know, it's like complete redrafts. Like, you know, I'll just rewrite it, and sometimes it's you know, I'll just go back and change a few things that I'm like, oh, this paragraph's a bit off, this bit doesn't really fit. But the cover one, redrafting, not exactly the whole thing, but sort of combing through the whole thing with like a fine-tooth comb about like 7 times. But of course, because, you know, I didn't rewrite it, you know, on the file it says like draft 4, but it's actually like draft 7 or something. I wrote that a lot of times, and I'm pretty pleased with how it's come out, you know, even if it's a bit long. I felt like I said all I needed to say. I felt like if I made it too much shorter, oh, here we go. I felt like if I made it too much shorter, you know, there would inevitably be people like, oh, you forgot about, oh, you forgot about grenades in Uncharted, you forgot about this and that, and it's like, no, I didn't. And I say similar things, you know, in terms of the rest of the videos, but because they're not exactly the same mechanic, I guess I have to at least acknowledge them. But don't worry, the comments made sure to point out that I forgot, oops, the comments made sure to point out that I forgot to put things in the video that I indeed did put in the video. So, I mean, I don't like to sort of actually, I mean, you know, I sort of complained on Twitter, you know, sort of in a jokey way. I don't like to legit complain about comments much, but I mean, when I said in that update video that the Darksiders 2 one was like the worst comment section I had, it had nothing on this. I got one yesterday that was so weird, I didn't know what to think. It was like, I'm an Afghan and Iraq war vet. In your opinion, if someone's shooting you, should you not take cover? It's like, I don't think warfare was designed to be fun. It doesn't have the best mechanics, really. Anyway, enough sort of self-indulgent, like, bitching. You know, I don't like to sort of do that. Like, actually, I did it in, you know, sort of in text chats in Discord a bit, but I feel like it's a bit different when you're actually saying it. God, I really need a glass of water. Let me check the chat. Jesus. It's like every new person who comes onto the stream is like, oh, this is such a good game. Yeah, everyone should play it. Any hopes and predictions for the Nintendo Direct? Not really. I think they'll show off new stuff in Mario Odyssey. And this is like the near the launch of Samus Returns, right? So they'll probably do a launch trailer for that. Probably a trailer for Xenoblade 2, which I don't really care about, even though I love 1. Yeah, and they won't show Metroid because they're saying like, oh, it'll be games that are coming very soon. Metroid Prime 4 is not coming soon. When you show up to E3 and your big Metroid announcement is Metroid Prime 4.png with music from a 12-year-old game, that's not been in development for longer than a week. You know, they probably just started developing it at E3, and then they were like, oh, why don't we get someone to make a trailer? You know, we may as well, now that we're here. I'm joking, of course, but it felt like that, as ecstatic as I was about the announcement. Sorry if I'm not responding to every comment, like, I physically can't, especially if I take this long on each one. they're probably going to announce the Vanquish / Bayonetta port for Switch. I wouldn't get your hopes up. Actually, what am I talking about? Because Bayonetta, of course, has been on Wii U. Yeah, I could see that. Like, if that leak is legit, but didn't that leak only have PS4 and Xbox One boxes? And, you know, it would be one thing if it just had PS4 boxes, and then it's like, oh, but, you know, obviously it's coming to other systems. But if it's, you know, the two main consoles, I don't know. Maybe not. I could see it happening, but I don't think so. For your cover shooter vid, what style of gameplay would you like to see in shooters that also wants to keep a more realistic tone? I feel like something along the lines of what I proposed. As much as some commenters acted like I didn't propose anything. You know what I sort of proposed with the little stickman drawings for Spec Ops: The Line and Quantum Break. You know, sort of implement that kind of stuff across the board, where you can still have cover, but you've got to do something with it. The way I was thinking about the other day is, so there's a bit in the video where I show some footage of Mario, right, and I'm like, you know, some mechanics are so versatile that they can be used for anything. Well, not anything, but you know what I mean. They can be used for a whole game and not get stale. And jumping in Mario falls into that because, how do I demonstrate it? Like, jumping is an addition to your moveset. You know, you can walk, you can do a roll on, roll off a cliff if I roll, and you can jump, and jump, you know, adds height. Cover takes away an entire dimension, really. It inherently sort of limits how you're playing. So what you've got to do, if you do have cover, what you've got to do is you've got to make cover itself dynamic. And unfortunately, just too many of those games just didn't do that. You know, people are like, oh, but they have grenades to flush you out, and it's like, I'm not about to compliment grenades in a shooter. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like I gave a lot of credit to games for, you know, just having an enemy type that goes towards you. But that's, you know, that's kind of basic stuff, really. Oh, I need to do. Grenades are in Doom, you know, and that's still a good game. So the kind of stuff I proposed for Spec Ops: The Line and Quantum Break, someone actually messaged me on Twitter afterwards saying, thought you might want to know that Gears of War 4 actually did some interesting stuff with cover. And then he listed off a bunch of stuff which sounded like quite interesting. There was one idea that was basically what I said about sandstorms in Spec Ops: The Line. But it was even more interesting. It was like, oh, you know, it was like if they, apparently in Gears 4 there are these weird sandstorms that like move pieces of cover around. I was like, that's quite cool. And this is the one that the fans hate? Because like, I didn't play Gears 4 because I don't have Windows 10, and I was like, well, I'm not going to get Windows 10 to play Gears 4 because if even Gears fans hate it, then it must be really bad. And then it turns out it's got like the most interesting ideas in the whole series. So, I mean, I don't know, I don't understand. I don't understand. I didn't understand it, laddie. That was for you, Ryan. That was offensive. Okay. Stranglehold. Wasn't Stranglehold the Max Payne type game? Like, wasn't that actually directed by John Woo? Something crazy like that, I think. Would a third-person shooter at the speed of Doom be possible without looking a bit weird? I don't know, Vanquish is fast. I mean, but yeah, it's not realistic. No, but that's what I'm saying, like, you know, Gears 4, from the sounds of things, did something interesting with cover. And it still retains its realistic, in the biggest air quotation marks I can manage, tone. So, it's not just about being fast, it's about being interesting. Like, Uncharted, I like Uncharted 4, and that doesn't make that many drastic changes from Uncharted 1 through 3, but it makes just enough so that the way you move around cover and that is actually dynamic. So, you know, I'm not asking for like a complete overhaul. I'm just saying, like, do something, you know? Anyway, enough about that. What else is going on? Have I done hard mode? Of what? Of Vanquish? Yeah. I recorded all the Vanquish footage on hard mode. Did you play Lost Legacy? No, Mark Brown was just telling me to play it. And I was saying earlier in the stream, I hear a lot of people... I saw one guy being like... I think it was replying to me on Twitter. It's like, oh, it's got the best combat and the best set pieces, but it's not the best Uncharted game. And I'm just like, how does that not automatically give it that title? If it's the best one. Oh, but it's not the best Uncharted. I don't know. I will play it. I was thinking of ordering it for when I got back from the States. And I might still do that, really. I might order it like tomorrow. It looks good. It looks good. I was worried about it because... Okay, I was worried about it because the gameplay designer for Uncharted 4 and The Last of Us, which probably the best gameplay of the modern Naughty Dog games, left. I'm pretty sure it was after Uncharted 4. I don't know if it was after Lost Legacy, but yeah, so he left, and I was a bit like, oh no, this, you know, they're just gonna go back to like Uncharted 1 through 3, and the first trailer for Lost Legacy was so bad, and all the comments were like, Naughty Dog does it again. It was the Order 1886. It was seriously like some Order 1886 tier nonsense. It was just walking. It's literally just it was Chloe, right? Just Chloe walking for about 8 minutes. And you know, everyone, of course, with the Order is like, oh man, the game sucked because it's just walking and nothing else. And then, oh, when Uncharted does it. But apparently it's still, like, actually good. So, who knows? I'll do a thing on it. Wow, I spent way too long talking about Lost Legacy, considering I haven't even played it. Should I play Metroid 2 or Zero Mission? Zero Mission, definitely. Metroid 2's quite archaic. You know, time has not been kind to Metroids 1 and 2. So, play their remakes. And by Metroid 2 remake, I mean AM2R. Because what people seem to be saying, this new one's not as good as, you know, a fan-made remake. But whatever, I've already talked about that. What else? No, he didn't. Is he not doing The Last of Us 2? Bruce Straley. Yeah, Bruce Straley is his name. Oh, never mind. Someone lied to me. I feel like that was Nova Canoe. Cheeky bastard. Because that was like my main cause for concern about the Lost Legacy. I was like, oh, but they don't have Bruce. Well, I guess that's that sorted. Oh no. I'm like mashing the A button right now. Oh god. Go, go, go! Oh jeez, here we go. Oh no, I've got 1 health. Oh god, this is where I die, isn't it? Oh no. Oh no, this is the end of the Go, go, go! There he goes! Are you going to buy Samus Returns, and are you worried that it can be bad? I've already expressed my worries as Samus Returns. Yes, I will most likely buy it. Especially considering if I'm going off to uni and I'm not taking most of my game stuff, I may as well take 3DS and play Samus Returns. Oh, the story for Lost Legacy wasn't well thought out. I know it's still probably better than 1 through 3. 4's, I mean, 3... Okay, the thing with Uncharted stories is they're all like serviceable action things. Oh, that was descriptive. Like, Uncharted 2 is a serviceable Indiana Jones style action blockbuster kind of thing. Uncharted 3 tried to do some more interesting stuff, but really tripped up in terms of plot holes and logic and consistency. Uncharted 4 also has some plot holes and like weirdness, and like the most unsatisfying rival character of all time. But talking about Nadine, not Sam. Oh look, it's the level I did a video on. But it makes up for it by having a much more interesting character story. Like all the character stuff with Nathan, Sam, and Elena. It's all, even the villain, what's his name, Rafe? Yeah. I found way more interesting than anything in the other Uncharted games. So it still puts it way above, and even though the finale gameplay-wise was like the Order 1886, thematically I thought it was really good. So I do like the story of Uncharted 4, and I like the gameplay when there is gameplay, which is why I didn't really touch on it too much in the cover video, because you know I'm going to be doing a short additional video. I most likely will, don't hold me to that. It's so weird playing through this. I think this is the first time I've played through this since I've done the video on it, and it's kind of weird. It's kind of quaint. Someone. Ripple and spin. What, underutilized? The hell are you talking about? What? Oh god, is this JoJo? Someone else mentioned JoJo. Oh no, that'll be embarrassing. I've just made a fool out of myself. That was like some Bryan Cranston shit. Yeah. AM2R, I mean, yeah, you say it seems to inherit the problems of Metroid 2, but so did... Oh, not AM2R. Oh no, you did say AM2R. Yeah, but AM2R does add boss fights and power-ups and stuff, which for a fan remake is kind of mental, and then this professional Metroid 2 remake comes along and it's like, what if you could hit them back and there's teleporters? Like, guys... No. Oh, this is the bit with the greatest line in that video. You have to watch for Biggie and Smalls. Jesus, I've got a lot of comments about that. It's like... Sometimes I don't know what I'm writing when I put these kind of lines in my videos. I don't know what I'm thinking, more like... Oh, there we go. Okay. Samus Returns looks like a messy project. Yeah, I'd agree. When it got announced at the Treehouse at E3, I was pleased and I was excited because of what it represented for the series. I was excited that it was like, oh my god, Nintendo's actually developing 2 Metroid games at the same time. Like, you know, they actually got back on track. Pleased. But the actual game itself, I was watching the stream and I couldn't help but just feel sad that, you know, of course, AM2R is not the real quote-unquote Metroid 2 remake. You know, they could put AM2R on the eShop. Of course, I don't know about the legality. They could put AM2R in the eShop and charge money for it, and people would pay. But I don't know. This new remake just doesn't look too good. It looks fine. It looks fine. But Metroid 2 is not the best Metroid game in the first place. So if you're gonna remake it, you know, like expand on it, like do something with it. Don't just leave it sort of as is. They just sort of added, things which did feel definitely like they came from a third-party developer, like a counter move, and you have like weird magic weapons now. Like what? It just seems weird. But I wish them all the best, you know, because they've obviously been working on it for a while. If it's still a 3DS game. Never trust Spaniards. I lived in Spain for a while actually, so I'm not a Spaniard though, so it doesn't. You get off scot-free. Oh, this is a really good level. Like, this is what I'm talking about when I say the aesthetic level design in this game is really great. Because if this, I keep harping on about New Super Mario Brothers, but if this was a level in that game, you know, it wouldn't nearly have the same kind of consistency as this. You know, this is like a fruit juice factory, and all the hazards are contextualized. Like, you know, this guy's going up and down with his claws. The peaches, or whatever they were, are sort of raised and lowered to kind of trick you into thinking they're going in different places. You know, a lot of thought went into these stupid monkey jumping kids games. And you know, it's not Retro's best game. It's probably Prime 1 for me, Prime 2 for others. But I'd say it's up there, you know. Definitely one of the best platformers out there, just in general. But of course everyone's like, oh, I don't want to pay 40 quid for a platformer. Like, what? But even if, you know, you pay 40 quid for a, like, the next Ubisoft sandbox game, but not a really good platformer, just because it's 2D or something. I don't know what the stigma is really. Oh jeez. Because I got this the same time I got Dragon's Dogma and Smash Bros on Wii U, and I played the hell out of this. You know, I played through Dragon's Dogma, and I barely even touched Smash Bros because this was in my Wii U the whole time. Okay. I'm gonna finish this level and then check the chat. Yeah, this bit honestly is a bit visually confusing. Like, it's a bit hard to tell exactly where those things lie. Oh. Is that it? Is it done? The deed is done. Oh yeah, look. Great background detail. You can see him. Look, you see him parachuting down. Just like little touches like that, you know, really. What people were saying, I won't pay 40 quid for any game, to be honest. Yeah, I just meant generally, like, well, especially because Nintendo games rarely go down in price. But you know, people are like, oh, I'll pay it for this kind of game, but not for this kind of game. It's a bit why. Really loved your video game cinematography. Oh my god, that's a throwback. What was that? Was that 2 years ago? 2.5 years ago? Oh my god. Oh Jesus. Will you do anything similar in the future? I don't know. I feel like I have done similar videos. My video essays, like the animation in action games, and that are just kind of an improvement on that formula. If you mean talk about video game cinematography anymore, like, I don't know. I feel like one video with several games on it is enough. What was I gonna say? Yeah, no, I feel like I've just kind of applied the same formula to newer videos. Like the cover video essentially is the same kind of thing, but I think it's better structurally because it's more like coherent and more like an actual essay, in that it's not just split into, first I'll talk about this game and then I'll talk about this game. It's more concept by concept with, you know, citations when I need them, so to say. Oh, good night. Oh. Regarding platforming games, have you given Sonic Mania a chance? Oh no, because it came out. Is this thing just? Oh my god, it just keeps going. Oh, I have to pull. Oh, it wasn't. Whatever. Oh, Tezla is so bad at video games. No, it came out when I was away, and I've just come back. I think it came out when I was away. And I've just come back, so I'll get on it. How's the PC port? Because I'll either play it on that. I'll probably... Oh, I don't know. Because I'd want to play it on a Switch. But I don't have a Switch because Nintendo make the best D-pads. And unless I play with an analog stick. Guess I could play on keyboard and mouse, but that's... I don't know, somehow that just feels wrong for a game like that. I have no complaints about the PC port, just Denuvo? Okay. That's the main thing I was sort of thinking about too. God, my voice has gotten really croaky. I've just been talking for like... Oh my god, I've actually been talking for 2 hours. I might wrap this up relatively soon. The rocket barrels aren't that much better here. I think they're better than they were before. They're not that much better. Okay. What else? Animation and action games was amazing. Thank you very much. I was very proud of that. I feel like that was my. I feel like that was my first. Oh god. I feel like that was my first legitimately good video. The rest was sort of bordering, and then that one was like actually good. And it was the first one which, you know, got a couple thousand views, and I was quite proud of it. So, you know, I do look back quite fondly on that video. It was quite fun to make as well, sort of dissecting it. You know, I'd, you know, get the footage of Ninja Gaiden and bring it into the editor and be like, okay, so how many frames is it using here? Like, I bet there's a load of easing, and sort of the satisfaction of being like, oh yeah, they do really exaggerate it. You know, sort of, you know, your assumptions being proven kind of correct. Just, of course, it was just a bunch of good games for the most part. So it was a lot, it was a lot of fun to record as well, unlike the cover video, which was took a bit of a toll on me. I had to really force myself to play Gears of War 1. A load of people, I posted on Twitter when I was playing it for the first time, like, oh, I hate Gears of War 1, tell me it gets better from here on out. And all these people replied like, I'm sorry, but it gets worse. And I was thinking, oh no, I may as well end my life. But then I played 2 and 3, and they get better. It definitely gets better. 2 was way more bearable for me than 1, and 3 has like some actually kind of not that interesting enemy designs, but more so than 1 and 2. So I don't know what's going on. Would you like the next retro game to be an IP revival or a new one? I'd like it to be a new one. As much as the thought of retro doing an F-Zero game sort of makes me like, you know, like ooh, that would be really good, wouldn't it? Oh yeah, just another point on retro. You know, this is another secret level, 5A, and it's got like completely unique assets and everything. So I mean, like, they put a lot of effort into this one. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, I'd rather they did something new, because like art direction is definitely one of retro's strengths. So more than anything, I think I'd like to see them just come up with their own kind of world and concept, like not tied to anything. Then again, I guess their shtick is sort of getting pre-existing properties and like improving them. So, I mean, I'm sure they'd fare fine making their own unique mechanics. But you don't know. But I'd like to see them try at the very least. I'm sure, I highly doubt it would turn out bad. You know what I mean? Like, it might turn out a bit like, it could have been better. Like, I would have rather heard F-Zero. But, I highly doubt Retro would put out a fully bad game. Because they've got a pretty great track record so far. You know, even Platinum, which is the other kind of cool kids game dev to like, you know, they have a spottier track record than Retro do. So I had to trust a new IP in Retro's hands decently enough. Royal Land Shake It, have you played it? I did years ago, but it's to the point where I can't remember it very well. I don't think I played very much of it. I do remember it just about. I remember it had like a cool sort of cartoony art style, but I can't really say anything about the quality because it's been a long time, and I didn't, you know, it wasn't like I sort of owned it and completed it. I just sort of played through a few levels at someone's house. So, just checking. Whenever I go like it's probably me checking the chat. So, ask whatever questions you may. Yeah, I may end it relatively soon. This has been going for. Wait, what? Why did I just do that? Turbo button, the video game legend strikes again. Oh no. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. You were supposed to jump to the left, I think. Remember when Treasure was? Oh yeah. Cool video game company before Platinum. There we go. Yeah, keep them questions coming, boys and girls, if there are any. Oh no, oh no! Oh god. This bit actually makes me kind of nervous, where it's like tumbling down and you have to sort of scramble to keep hold of it. Have I missed any comments? Hey man, just found your channel, your stuff is very inspiring. Thank you, Razzie. It means a lot to, you know, get these kind of very, very nice compliments. It feels kind of weird to, you know, have people be like, you're an inspiration. I mean, just talking about video games, but okay. Yes. What else? Damn, no new messages. Jeez, the chat just died or something. What's going on? Maybe it's just no one's just posting messages. Ah, there we go. It's still working. Oh crap. Yeah, I was gonna get hit there. This is a bit of a stretch. But have you ever considered hosting a game jam like Mark Brown? Honestly, I think it would be too much of a time commitment for me to do. I'd like to, but like I think it would be fun, but it's not like, you know, sort of on a list of priorities for me to do. And considering the time commitment involved, you know, I'm not just going to do it on a whim, like, oh, I'll just do a game jam. You know. So, there's your answer. That's a no. That's a no. Jeff Payne lives. Well done, Jeff Payne. I'm proud of you. Oh, I keep doing that. I keep making the same mistakes. I feel like I'm going senile. I was gonna mention something about like chocolate fruits. I can't even remember what I was gonna say now. Yeah, just ask me. I don't know. I feel kind of bad when people ask me questions like, "What do you think of this game?" I'm just like, "Oh, I haven't played it." So I don't know. Yeah, but feel free to keep them coming because I am sort of glancing at the chat every so often. Platinum said that Automata saved them. Were they really in the red? I mean, you know, Activision were paying them for those. You know, those were like commissioned titles, the sort of rinky-dink cartoon ones they did. So I don't know. I guess Scalebound probably took a lot of budget actually. Not the, but like the. It took a lot of money, and maybe reduced some faith industry-wide. Who knows? I don't know the inner workings of Platinum, but I'm guessing Scalebound had a pretty bad effect on them, and Kamiya probably feels quite bad about it. What's annoying is Kamiya, you know, obviously didn't direct Bayo 2 because he was working on Scalebound, so he hands it to forgotten his name. Character designer on Bayo 1 and lead designer on Bayo 2. I can't remember his name. Oh, oops. So he hands it to him, and then it's not as good. And then Scalebound doesn't even. It's not even like, oh, at least we get Scalebound. No, it doesn't even come out. Oops. Do you have your own Discord server? No, I don't. I'm in the TGB, the Gaming Brit and Joseph Anderson servers quite a lot. I don't know. Again, like time. I feel like constantly monitoring a Discord server, you know, is what time, and I don't know, not responsibility really, but I don't really have the time, and it's already, I don't know, I already basically treat the Gaming Brit one like my own server anyway, so I just sort of hang out there a lot. I don't know. I feel like it wouldn't be that many people really. I'm not that big a channel. So I don't want to make a Discord server if like 4 people are going to be regular. You know, that would be just kind of embarrassing. Okay. Oh, Yusuke Hashimoto is the director of Bayonetta 2. Yeah, thank you. Yusuke, what are you doing up on the roof up there? Oh, Girl-chan in Paradise never got finished. Oh no. Girl-chan in Paradise never got finished. And maybe that was never funny. Maybe I was just stupid. But it was kind of so stupid it was funny. But Eager Raptor doesn't animate anymore, so I'm sort of waiting for, not necessarily for Platinum to return to greatness, but to return to, I guess, like a more focused kind of idea. Like, you know, Bayonetta 2 was its own thing. Nier Automata, well, I mixed things on, might be good. But I think it is good, it's just not, like, amazing. But it's still, you know, another property, you know. But I guess the same can be said for Metal Gear Rising, but that's still... Okay, actually, maybe it's a bit unfair to label Automata like that if Metal Gear Rising was kind of the same deal. But that still definitely feels like a Platinum game. I don't know, I just want them to return to just making whatever the hell they want. Like, the Gaming Group made a good point in his What Happened to Platinum Games video, where it's like, Platinum used to just make crazy games, like Mad World, Bayonetta, Wonderful 101, Vanquish, you know, they're all very different games. And now it feels like they've got a bit of a template. They just kind of use Bayonetta and a bit of Metal Gear Rising as a template for all their games. And, you know, Vanquish was like a third-person shooter, and it was completely different to anything else they've done. And it's great. In fact, it needs a sequel. It's like probably in the most dire need of a sequel I've ever seen. You know, but whatever. If they want to keep making Bayonetta clones, then feel free. These are a really good template. It is a really good template, but it's... I'd rather have... It's a great template, but I'd rather have a few great, if unrefined, templates compared to, you know, just one template that after ages of polish has, you know, it's finally ironed of any flaws, you know. Because then it's like, why go back and play Bayonetta when that final, oh, we got it right this time, guys, Bayonetta game comes out? Why go back and play Bayonetta? Okay, this is something weird. That's sort of throughout the game. Some background objects, I guess, are at 30 FPS. These fruit look like they're at 30 frames a second, or even maybe lower. Maybe it's just the trick of the eye. It seemed like they did this a few times across the game, and just, I don't know, just optimization, I guess. Just something I thought I'd point out. But the actual game itself runs very, very solid. I mean, it's not like it's that intensive, you know. Warframe is very Vanquish-like. Yeah, I got quite a few people saying to play Warframe. Oh my god, Wonderful 101 is 4 years old. That's mental. That's... Jesus Christ. Oh my god, it feels like just yesterday when that game sold 0 copies. Man, all the design boys have gone now. Jeez. My boys. Yeah, so Carly's talking about how refreshing it was to get like Bayonetta and all that stuff for the first time. And yeah, I agree, like playing Bayonetta for the first time is like an experience. Same with Wonderful 101. But like, yeah, you sort of rob it of a bit of the magic. You know, like what if I mean, it's not that big a deal. But what if Platinum, years down the line, make a not Bayonetta, and it's like, it's got the same mechanics, but just refined. And it's, you know, it's its own crazy game, but the gameplay is still Bayonetta. You know, new Platinum fans are going to play that, and they're going to be like, oh, I can't wait to play all these old Platinum games that I bet they were just as creative and crazy. And then they'll go back to Bayonetta, and it will just be like a less refined version. You know, it's not quite the same as, you know, having Bayonetta and then having all these other unique, great games. Obviously, sequels and that should improve on the foundations of the game, but I think if you're doing a different game, you know, take the opportunity to do something different with it, especially if you're a developer as sort of known for being over the top as Platinum. That's my way too extensive thoughts. Would you see DMC3 as a less refined DMC4? In a lot of ways. The annoying thing with DMC is it still hasn't had that perfect game. I love DMC3 so much. It's a really good game, but it's not perfect. Like some of the enemies are kind of boring. Like the chess guys and the shield dudes. You know, the shield dudes you fight in the kind of hallway with like rotating blades. Those are just a chore. So it's got a great system. It's got a really good story, as in, you know, just for what it is. And then DMC4 comes along, and it's like, okay, here's perhaps one of the deepest, if not the deepest, single-player character kits of all time. Let's not make the game. And, you know, that's just... I can't call DMC4 polished if it's missing half a game. It doesn't work like that. Blame Microsoft for pulling the plug on Scalebound. Yeah, I mean, it did look a bit jank. It's not like it looked like this amazing game. I mean, maybe it would have turned out really great, because I mean, when Wonderful 101 was first shown off, it had really bad frame rate. So it could have turned out great, but from what we saw, it didn't look that good. I don't know. Oh god, I'm getting tired. What else is in the chat? Okay, what am I trying to do here? Am I just trying to jump on them? I feel like I should be. Okay, never mind. Oh god, that was bad. Do you care about strategy games at all? I've wanted to get into them because I played a few when I was younger. Yeah, I played a few on my really bad PC when I was really little. But sort of as I grew up, I never got back into them. But I might. I was thinking of trying out Civ 6 or something. I think Age of Empires was one I played when I was little. Was there? What was the one with where the intro was like these two guys, they're playing chess, they're moving the pawns or whatever, and you know every time they move a piece, it sort of cuts to the battlefield where like you know those characters are moving across a war. It was a really cool intro. Was it Age of Empires? I don't know. I don't remember these nerd chess games. Okay, what else is going on? How old am I? I've already got that question. I've already answered it. I've answered the Sonic Mania question. No, I haven't, because I've just got back from a holiday. Okay, I think that's mostly. DMC 3 was perfect. No, it's really, really good. It's like, you know, you can have a game be fantastic and not be perfect. Breath of the Wild's not perfect, and I love it. DMC 3 has its flaws. Its benefits way outweigh its flaws by a huge margin. But I'm just saying, like, you know, if they made DMC 5 and it was DMC 3 with a few better enemies and a few better bosses. There are some good bosses in DMC 3, but there's also remember Gigapede? Jesus Christ. What else? I don't know, there's some other duds, I feel. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's still one of my favourite games of all time, like, don't get me wrong. I guess no game is perfect, but DMC 3 has sort of visible flaws that, you know, would do really well in a sequel. Capcom, you know, take a hint. It has, I find it really weird that DMC 3 and Bayonetta have like the exact same cut to credits. You know, where they both point their guns at the camera as enemies are about to fight them, and they're like, and they say some like quippy thing, and the credits theme kicks in. It's like it's kind of weird. I guess it was a reference to DMC 3. I guess, maybe. Either way, I love the endings to both of them. They're just perfect. Chat. Mega Man panel. What? Doesn't know what. How would you feel if Tropical Freeze got a Switch port? I'd be happy. Like, I mean, you know, if it came with tons of improvements, I'd be a bit like, oh, you know. Actually, I wouldn't feel hard done by, because I still bought like an amazing game. I feel a bit annoyed because it's like, oh, I was one of the OG supporters, and then these guys are getting the. But like at the same time, I just want people to play good games. And if people have a Switch and they don't have a Wii U, then you may as well port it. Like someone said in the chat, like it's basically their retry on the Wii U, and it really is. And it's a good thing that it's successful this time. It's basically just a much better version of the Wii U. If not in performance, in terms of design, concept, definitely name and marketing. Oh god, remember the Wii U marketing? That was like embarrassing. Like not just embarrassingly bad, but actively embarrassing. I think I'm gonna end the stream somewhat soon. People talking about Itsuno hinting at a new game. I want to believe it's Devil May Cry 5. Dragon's Dogma 2. Yeah, that would be cool. I'd be up for that. You know, Dragon's Dogma is kind of like Vanquish in that it's a cool foundation, but it needs a sequel with a lot more stuff and more focus to really make it something special. So, if it was Dragon's Dogma 2, I wouldn't be, like, annoyed, but I would be a little disappointed that it's not DMC5, just because then who's making DMC5? Because it's getting made, right, lads? It's getting made. I'm not crazy. It's getting made. DMC5 is getting made. There's no way it's not getting made. They're making DMC5. Okay, here we go. Okay. Didn't DMC4 Special Edition do pretty well? I heard so. I hope they don't think, oh, that did well, we'll do that again. Because, I mean, by all means do the combat system again, but don't make half a game with 8 characters again. That's not how you make a finished product. God, DMC4 is such a weird game. Like, it's actually so weird how it has, like, the best mechanics. But then, they're just... Oh, I was at the very end of the level when I died. But then it's just tied to a complete nothing game. Jesus. What a waste. Capcom's a horrible company, don't respect their IPs. Yeah, but recently they were talking about bringing some back. Not recently, it was like a year ago now. They were saying, oh, we're gonna bring some of them back, and we're gonna do them right. Basically, sort of implying, yeah, we did DMC and Mega Man wrong. Oh, I don't need the boss. I'll do like 1 or 2 levels of here, and then I'll call it quits. Not that one. I'll do. This one's pretty good. DMC4 SE raised profit 100% for Capcom. How? How can one game do that? Oh, I guess it must have raised profit so much because it took like 0 money to make. So that might. Oh, this. Oh my god! Look at this. Look at this sign. So this is cute. I just love the attention to detail in this game. I'm very enamored with this good old game of retros. Never mind. I'm bad at it, so I can't like it. Okay. Everything I want is just Metal Gear Rising 2. Yeah, me too. I mean, I was just talking about Platinum being derivative, but Metal Gear Rising needs a sequel, if just for the soundtrack alone. I want a new Metal Gear Rising just so we can get a new Metal Gear Rising soundtrack. I mean, that was the best part of Rising, let's not kid ourselves. And I want more absolutely insane final bosses, because that was just... Senator Armstrong is so weird in that he breaks like all the rules of final bosses in terms of just coming out of absolutely nowhere, so he has, you know, no ties to the plight of the main character or anything. He just comes out of nowhere, but then he's like the greatest final boss. So how do they do it? Vanquish 2, yay or nay? Yay, a million times yay. Vanquish 2 is the sequel I most want to see, because Vanquish isn't Platinum's best game, but it's the one with the most untapped potential. You know, Vanquish has great mechanics, and it has great enemies, not great enemy variety, it has great enemies, but they're not put to any like good use. There's just not enough going on. I don't really care how deep the story is, but you know, you just want something with a bit of motivation behind it. You know, and Metal Gear Rising, you know, there's a sort of a consistent through line. There's characters you sort of grow to hate and want to beat when you get to the bosses. There's a banging soundtrack. Like, if Vanquish got that kind of love that Metal Gear Rising did, it would be amazing. And the thing with Vanquish, I won't spoil the end. Well, there's nothing to spoil. It's such a downer of an ending. It's like they do like a cliffhanger, and it's just the worst cliffhanger of all time, and it feels like such a waste. And then after the cliffhanger, you know, everyone's really down, and oh man, the world, oh, what's gonna happen? And then you have like the Smash Bros. Melee credits where you're shooting like little laser guns at the heads of game designers. It's like, what? Who okayed this as this like Smash Bros. Target music is playing? You know, it's just what? Weird. Mikami, man, what are you doing? But I wouldn't want Mikami to direct Vanquish 2, because as much as I like God Hand and Vanquish, he's got more tepid over time. Like, you know, he said in an interview once, like, oh, I don't think they should have given me as much freedom with God Hand as they did. And it's like, yes, they should have, because it's great. Don't think that it's not, and especially because they gave you too much freedom. You know, I find it kind of sad that he sort of thinks that. God Hand's a great game. What's going on? Vanquish 2 feet pain. Yeah, the final boss of Wonderful 101 is too easy, like you said. Well, it's not too easy, whatever. But that is, I think, thematically, the best final boss I've ever played. Okay, Virgil maybe, but the final boss to the Wonderful 101, the whole final chapter is I can't describe it, and I won't, because I don't want to spoil it. Because if there's any chance that someone can play that game, I won't spoil it for them, because the entire final chapter is just, it's insane the way in which things like develop. You know, I never thought I'd see anything close to what happens in that. Oh my god, this game! Played or heard of Fury? I've played a tiny bit of Fury because a very kind viewer gifted it to me. I should play it properly. I will play it properly. I was thinking of playing it like this week or something, because it's not very long, you know. And I was gonna do it eventually for the action game video anyway. So, you know, there's no point in not playing it if you catch my drift. Yeah, I think at the end of this level, I think I'm gonna call it quits for tonight and say goodbye. But if you have any questions before then do post them in the chat, and I'll respond to them. Is it in game plus what? Death Stranding? No. Death Stranding, I'm not optimistic about, because it does literally just look like, oh my god, it does just look like Kojima wants to put his friends in a game in quotation marks. We haven't seen gameplay. I mean, think about it for a second. We know nothing about the story. We know nothing about the gameplay. Every big hype announcement that Death Stranding has made so far has been to do with, oh, I recognize that person. It's been like, oh, oh god, I forgot his name. Not Christoph Waltz. What's his name? You know, there's also Norman Reedus and what's his face? Del Toro. You know, it feels a bit like cheap. Not production value wise, obviously, but like in terms of the tricks it's playing on people. Yeah, way too late for the PS4 era. It's going to be on like the PS5. Well, they just recently finished the gameplay of Death Stranding. Where did this news become a thing? Okay. Ever had any interest in fighting games? Fleeting interests. Played a little bit of Tekken. For me, the main hurdle is like the controls. I do want to get into them because obviously they're one of the biggest examples of, you know, really well thought out like depth and balance. Maybe not balance, but player mechanics and stuff in games. So I want to get into them more. I played a little bit of Street Fighter 3, a little bit of Street Fighter 4, but I've never really dug into them, you know. I played Charlie at Tekken a little bit when we were at Comic-Con. I beat him a few times. Yeah, it's nothing personal. It's nothing personal. The gaming Brit taken down. Okay. The Halo 5 trailer said a bit of story in the game. Oh yeah, didn't they like pretend that that like Master Chief was going to be like hunted or something? I don't exactly know what went on, but like he was going to have some epic rivalry with the what's his name, Locke? Something like that. But then it wasn't in the game at all. So yeah. Okay, I think in about... Okay, I'll do this. This is the last level, and then I'm gonna go. So get in all your questions if you got any. I think I've played through levels in like every world so far except for the first one. Oh my god, I've been going for 2.5 hours. I didn't expect to be going for this long. I thought I'd go for like an hour and a half or something. Jesus, especially considering I've been going by myself. Haha, there's a funny joke to be made there, but I'm not gonna make it. Sorry if I sound really tired at this point, because I kind of am. My voice has gone a bit because of this stream. Okay. Okay. Have you played the Yakuza games? I've played one, and I'm sort of like halfway through 2. The problem with 2 isn't a problem with the game itself, but with the European copy, you know when certain PS2 games, because it was in the transition for Europe between 50 and 60 hertz, and you know they do that thing on the title screen like, oh, do you want to play in 50 or 60 hertz? And when I plug it into my TV, that screen is like invisible, so I have to like fumble around in the dark for settings, and it's, you know, it's sort of like every time I think like, oh, should I play Yakuza 2 or something else, I just remember like, oh, I'm gonna have to like fumble around in the dark to even get it working, and I just like, eventually I will. I do want to play through all of them. You know, I don't want to just be like, oh, I'm just gonna start at Kiwami. I do want to play through all of them, especially considering 2 is apparently you know, one of the best, so I will finish it. I have a huge backlog, to be honest. What else is going on? Ever played Ghost Trick? Yes! Yes, I was thinking about Ghost Trick yesterday. I love Ghost Trick. I really, really do. That's like the story is just so good, and so sweet and so charming. The music's great. I mean, in all honesty, like the gameplay concept is cool, but it's not amazing. It's not completely realized, but I mean, it really won me over with its story and characters. Like the amount of twists that game chucks at you is just nuts, and I didn't see like any of them coming. So kudos. I feel like I should play the Phoenix Wright games because they're made by the same guy. Do they have the same writer? Obviously the concept of Phoenix Wright doesn't interest me enough as much. Sorry, but you know, I'll check them out because they probably still have good stories. They just don't have. Oh my god, no, please! They just don't have quite as cool a concept as Ghost investigates his own death. You know. I remember murdered sole suspect. Okay, let me scroll back a bit. Should I play Metro Prime on Wii or GameCube? I say the Wii version. Just for the controls. Have you ever played Momodora or Cave Story? I've played Cave Story. Momodora, I feel like I'm thinking of a different game. I feel like I'm thinking of that Wii and Vita game. No, that's... God, what is that? No, that's, the... No, it's not Mura Mash. Yeah, that's some PS1 game. What's it called? Whatever. Who cares? You cross-examine a bird at one point in Ace Attorney. I'm gonna have to play Ace Attorney then. I've thought about making a video on Rareware and their design before Microsoft. Maybe. It's sort of, it's you know, it's one of those things, like I said before about Mega Man, where it's been talked about before, and oh my god, I'm just like hitting buttons. I'm not playing. It's having to talk at the same time. Okay, let me reboot my mind for a second. That worked. Yeah, I feel like I don't have anything to add really that hasn't been said. I don't have anything meaningful to add to the conversation really. What else is here? Muramasa. That's what I was thinking of. What's the PS1 game I was? Brave Fencer Musashi. Musashi? Something like that. That's what I was thinking. What do you think of my number 9 now? Do you have to ask? How are you still going, you mad bastard? Oh, Mark, you're back. I didn't know you'd come back. Well, I'm ending at the end of this level, so. Because I'm tired. I don't want to have this clutter up the channel, so I'll keep it on unlisted, I guess. And then I'll just, I don't know, I'll put the link on Twitter or something if anyone wants to rewatch it for some reason. Okay. Do you have any advice for people who want to start making character action games? Oh my god, I don't make the games. Jesus. I honestly, I can't offer you advice because I'm not an authority, and hopefully I'll have enough to say when I make this big what makes a great action game video, but that won't be for a while. So fortunately right now I can't really give you any non-pretentious advice, you know. I'm pausing just in case. Have you played the OG Doom? Yes. Wow, this sounds like Kendra on the Drifts. A bit? Pretentious advice is fine too. Make it fun. That's my that's gonna be my video essay, you know. What makes a great action game? Make it fun. Guess those cover shooters didn't get the memo. God. God. What am I doing? What am I doing? I guess you guys are getting more stream than you were gonna. But Jesus Christ. And earlier in the stream I was like, Tropical Freeze isn't that hard. In all honesty, like, it's not completely... I mean, I'm shouted today. It's not that hard, so I don't know why GameSpot was like, oh, this is the most unfair game of all time. What? I hate to admit it, GameSpot were right. This game sucks. Bango, no, I haven't played. Downwell, yeah, I've played Downwell. I picked that up from that Game Maker video. Have I played Lost Planet? A tiny bit of 3, and I heard that's like the worst one, so I bailed. Any games you enjoy while knowing they're deeply flawed? Max Payne's not the greatest game, but I love it. Other games, I don't know, I guess my taste is just too good. I only enjoy good games. In all seriousness, I can't think of any off the top of my head. Oh my god. What else? I don't think I've missed any questions. At least any that I could answer. Any of the Fatal Frame games? No. I was interested in the Wii U one, simply because I was surprised it even got made, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll buy that. But then it came out and apparently wasn't good, so I don't know. Are the PS2 ones good? The PS2 ones, I can't remember. I'll probably try them at some point. The problem with horror games is I'm a huge wuss. So, like, even Fear, which everyone makes fun of for having such banal, generic horror, scares me. I play it and I'll have to like Alt F4 if like a spooky enemy's coming up. I'm like, nope, nope. It took me a while to get through Silent Hill 2. And that's not even that scary, is it? Oh no, oh no. There we go. Turbo button versus okay, so... Oh, jeez, that's it. God, I'm tired. I think next stream I'll probably have some people on. I don't know who. Gaming Brit. Nova Canoe, whoever, I don't know. But for now, thank you all for stopping by. I didn't expect this many people to. And have a good day, night, wherever you are. Watch out for the hurricanes. I'll see you later. How do I turn this fucking thing off? Of course, I've got to go on the computer to do it. Jesus. Oh wow, fluffed up the ending to the stream. What a professional. Yeah.